Hello everyone, welcome back to the T.O.A Podcast. I am greeted here today by the Elephant Man himself, Eck.
Who are you?
I am Onvermel. Did I not introduce myself?
No, you didn't.
Crap, how would people ever have known who I was?
You are our host, even though I'm the one hosting this place.
I am the host of the cast, you're the host of the studio, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I always come over to your place to record the podcast. I just bounce before it between the two bros. It's just a lot easier that for me. And plus it gives me an excuse to come and visit, you know? I don't mind visiting,
See the nephews, see the Lego.
Exactly. You know, wave at your wife maybe, be like, hey, move on to the basement. Imagine all that. But, I was thinking a couple of weeks, like last week, it was before I recorded the last podcast, I was thinking about, because the last conversation I was basically having with Zach, I was basically, using System and Bionicle.
Yes, I did actually manage to listen to that.
Oh, wow. I was wondering why I had so many views. I got in 2 digits. But it was, kind of the whole idea that, System being used in Bionicle, right? And, also, people use Bionicle parts in mocks sometimes, usually more as a challenge or anything. But this is the thing. It was also a challenge for LEGO themselves to use Bionicle parts. And
yes.
There's definitely a very specific time era where you can tell that it was semi-prevalent.
Vikings.
Basically from Vikings to the end of Exoforce to Power Miners, kind of that general...
Mm-hmm. Exoforce did make a fair bit of use of these, but they're also just kind of Bionicle-sized mechs.
Well, them being mechs, obviously, the thing about Exoforce specifically was that not only did they use weapons, which is the most common way of using a Bionicle piece in almost anything, is just the weapons. Take out the weapons and you have very few sets that use it, but... X-Force, they didn't just use Bionicle weapons, they also used the KK2 large figure weapon swords. And almost all of them often new recolors.
Yep, even some of the Bionicle weapons.
For those who wanted a white sword, but are tired of using Kopaka's, which I don't know how he could be, because Kopaka has, the perfect design of a sword. Anything else is just inferior.
Unless you want a flame sword.
Unless you want to make someone who doesn't look exactly like Kopaka, but kinda. You have white Danju swords with Stealth Hunter, which is... And because, Stealth Hunter basically got an upgrade with a bluer version, with,
Sentei Force?
The Sentei... I'm trying to remember the actual robot's called. It's the
blue thing.
The blue... I can't... I'm sorry, X-Force fans. I used to know this. It's been too long. But you got regular blue versions of Santis' sword, rather than, the metal blue. Which was... And then... Well, Vladik's Fortress had silver versions of the Vladik sword. Convenient, isn't it?
But Exoforce, a couple of them also use T.O.A feet or Metru feet.
One used 2 sets used T.O.A feet, one used Metru. Not in any recolors or anything. Even the T.O.A feet.
They had some stickers on them.
Which, don't get me wrong, T.O.A feet with dark green stickers on the toes probably wouldn't look bad if you added them. And actually, speaking of dark green, one of my favorite time LEGO used Bionicle pieces in sets, specifically for recolors, was actually, as you were saying, with the Vikings.
Mm-hmm. We got a lot of recolors of the Vikings.
Well, you got dark green T.O.A Nuva leg. Dark
red.
Basically, you got dark green T.O.A Nuva leg, Borak leg, and Metru Matoran leg.
The only recolor of that part. And
then you also got, dark red, T.O.A Nuva leg and Borak leg. Dark tan, Anua claws. So if you're trying to make a Puatu, a brown Anua... Those are basically the best option you've got, which only really come from those sets. And also think about,
Oh, also the Roshki spine.
Right, yes. You can't forget, the only time they recolored a Roshki spine was, the white one from the Sea Serpent.
And obviously the dark green back. So with the dark green head released later, you can make a dark green Roshki.
Well, and dark green feet with, Kongu.
Yes. Which is so awesome.
It is interesting to see, basically, how Vikings really used a lot of Bionicle parts. I mean, also because their LEGO was... It was the first time they were making dragons that weren't pre-molded parts, because they had, the original dragon design back from the 90s, which they used that design up to 2003. KK2 didn't have any dragons, so it was the first time they used dragons since Orient Expedition. And also they were trying to make them more cool.
I'm pretty sure they're still using those dragon wing molds today.
They were, at least in L's, still using the wings.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're still using it. I don't know if Dreams is using those wings, or at least
certainly it's similar.
That's the thing, is I forgot those wings were designed for Vikings, because I thought they were designed for Crownies, that prefab dragon design. which I used to hate that design, and now I've come to find it nostalgic.
But don't forget, I also had them on Dracus boat as sales, and that was before Crown Knights.
That's true. That's true. But the interesting thing about Vikings is like they also used Borak hull shields.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a recolor, but like you look at that, they use Borak hull shields. They use limbs. They use some claws and weapons. Fenric's head was used on a dragon's head because they made a new dragon head design for for a red dragon, a dark green dragon for the main wave sets. But then they had like a limited edition set that had like an armored dragon that uses Fenric's, and actually used the regular dragon head as the jaw, which I kind of thought was kind of funny. So I would argue to say, I don't know if this is a definitive statement, but arguably Vikings was I would say the most prolific and best use of Bionicle parts.
It's hard to disagree with that.
It's like, yes, you look at the dragons and go, okay, it is the most mix between system and Bionicle that you could possibly like imagine. Like, it arguably mixed Bionicle and system better than the system Bionicle sets did.
Yeah, those were
But this the thing is, the dragons were actually trying to make creatures out of it, while system was trying to make buildings out of Bionicle parts.
The Bionicle sets, some of them you could describe as scaffolding with Vaki weapons strewn about.
I love it. It's beautiful. But the system sets are a conversation for another day. That's actually my plan for next week's conversation with Zach has to talk about the system sets, which I actually have quite a few. Now, one thing that I do like about when Lego would use Bionicle pieces in system sets is sometimes you would get recolors in some very interesting colors. At least one of the most useful recolors, maybe not the coolest, but one of the most useful, was from Power Miners, the second year of it. Not the second wave, but like the final wave. But they had the only other set used Carapper armor, and they had in blue, normal blue, solid, not melded, which on that own is just like. Also, I mean, I'm just going to say about that set, that is like the most amazing function a set's ever had.
And it works
which,
like
by the way,
all the time.
It's claw catcher, and the idea is that these arms go in together, grab a rock monster, and huck it into like a box in the back. And it works pretty much flawlessly. Like, it's so...
Power Miners and their functions, most of them are really good. Some of them are iffy, like the Crystal Sweeper.
The Crystal Sweeper, if you had a perfectly flat floor and all the parts were new, I think it works pretty good. It's just very... You have to have the crystals pointing upwards. Like, as long as the thing that's scooping up is like more than a brick high, it seems to work fine. But again, it is a very complex sweeping system compared to like something like, okay, Claw Digger's pretty basic. Which also happens to use Bionicle parts. It has orange
little
Mari's daggers.
Yes.
Which, actually, Power Miners in general had about 3 or 4.
There's the Roshki staff on the one.
Like, the only Roshki weapon to come in a recolor, outside of, like, different shades of silver.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that in orange, it's just really cool. Also, I have so many of those now. Like, I keep picking them up every time I see it, going, oh, this is cool, this is Power Miner. I've never used it on a Power Miner walk, but I have, like, 5 in my Bionicle collection. Which, don't get me wrong, you know, if you want to make an orange Rock who's got partially orange, having the orange tips on the staff might look pretty good. So you got orange Maru Matoran weapons, orange green Roxy staff, and then you got the blue Carapper armor for it. So that's just Power Miners on their own that had those 3 recolors. Like, Power Miners had a lot of like interesting recolors in lime and orange, but I think for Bionicle, those were the only ones. Like, it did use other Bionicle parts such as the Biddle's feet. Lavatraz had. They didn't work as a function.
That was like the one biggest the worst function that was supposed
to be. Okay. Well, this is the thing about Power Miners. Because every set up to that point had a cool function, and some of them were really cool. So when you get Lavatraz, and you see the picture of this claw picking up the Eruptor, you're thinking, oh, obviously because Power Miners had so many functions before, obviously this is going to work.
Wrong answer.
And it doesn't. It doesn't work. Actually, think about another Power Miner set with a claw that doesn't really work. In that same wave, Magma Mech. It's got the two T.O.A Trucker, or sorry, Mysticatahu.
We like to know as T.O.A Trucker.
And we'll continue to call them T.O.A Truckers. So T.O.A Truckers saw blades.
Yes.
I believe those weapons were only ever used in Claw Catcher, like all Magma Mech, I mean.
Magma Mech and T.O.A Trucker.
But the Magma Mech, again, claw function, that doesn't really work. But, again, bound
I don't
pieces...
think that was supposed to grab. That's more of a just you press down and it goes out.
It's a very basic Technic springy design. It's an age-old design. It's like probably the most pathetic use of that function of an extending lift arm thing. Because most times you use it's either a slammer, it's a neck, it's a Tarkov arm.
Trigger on its back.
They usually do something. This one is just more of a and it's very floppy. So Power Miners definitely had some very nice use of Bionicle, but I would say again it's only the weapons, Oh, and your armor. Actually, Clawcatcher also, I believe, had a pair of silver Calm armor as well. So you actually use two different sets of armor in the hands. Man, if only I had the blue ones of those as well, it would have been really cool. But, I'll take what I can get. But, after Power Miners, I don't think there was very many other uses of Bionicle. But it's also, if you want more other recolors, Exoforce is still where you want to go. Well, specifically Blade Titan, which is this Golden City Takeshi mech, where it had the Takenuma staffs in translucent milky with dark red injected into it.
Let's not forget Thunder Fury.
Oh yeah, the red Matau swords, which again, they're what I appreciate about those, the first wave of Exoforce, the recolors you got is that they were standard yellow, red, blue.
Well, there's the one Valky weapon that was melted dark red and black with
Thunder Fury. Yeah, Thunder Fury. That's the name of the mech is Thunder Fury. Don't look confused.
Didn't I just call the other one Thunder Fury?
No, that was Grand Titan.
Grand Titan. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, no. Thunder Fury's White Roxy weapon in the black and dark red is
White Valky weapon.
I love it. I love the White Valky weapon in black and dark red, but I'm annoyed about one thing. Is that it's black and dark red melded, and it's from 2004. Tragadoom's mask is black and normal red melded. Now, don't get me wrong, because they're both the softer plastic, when you have them on the same mock, you don't actually notice it too much, because I have a Tragadoom mock.
The Tragadoom mask, it feels a little darker than just regular mask.
That because it's mixed with the black and such, so they actually do go really well with each other, but it's
it's not the same.
I mean, I have a Tragadoom T.O.A mock that has 3 of those swords, and it actually looks really good. But it's if there were maybe it works better because they're dark red, so it's not the same colors it do. But at the same time, if it were normal red, although I don't think Thunder Fury would have looked good in normal red because the bad guy mechs were.
Yeah.
Actually, just even go with the other mech. Fire Vulture had light gray or light blay Galley Claws, which I do know the light blay variant was used in several other sets after that. I think at least in a couple others. But I think, again, the non-silver light blade version was only for either Exoforce or Technic sets that I can remember. I don't think there was. But I think, too, with Exoforce, they only used one kind of Bionicle part, exclusively in their stuff. And that was weapons. And arguably, Vikings was pretty much the only time that limbs are used outside of 2 sets that I can think of. Outside of the Vikings, I can only think of 2 sets that actually used Bionicle limbs that I can really think of. One of which, actually both of them use the same type of limb too. You get light Blake Epoch arms and dark Blake, new arms, I guess. You got the General Grievous Chase. His vehicle's got the. Well, it's pretty much just a Bionicle creation with some system slapped on it. It is because it's got 4 light blade Anua or Kapaka sword arms with sand blue sockets, which actually just having sand blue is kind of nice. Yeah, which was pretty rare at that point. And then you got dark blade versions of those arm pieces with Atlantis. With
Seabed Scavenger, I think it was called.
I'm going to have to trust you on this because I have no idea.
There's some underwater sets called Seabed Scavenger. I don't know if it's that one. Or
it's not Typhoon Turbo. I know that. Or Neptune Carrier.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Seabed Scavenger sounds right.
Well, we're going to stick with that. But the fact, because that Atlantis came out in 2010. That much I know. Because I remember the 2010 catalog had Atlantis front and center on the page. So that arm piece came out with 2001 with the T.O.A. And then and it was used a few times, but like in black. I think that was the only set that used it in dark blaze. I don't think Bionicle.
I believe so.
None of the Bionicle Titans ever used it in dark blaze. So the fact that it lasted all the way until, I mean, technically Bionicle was still out that year.
Yeah.
But it's like, pushing it. It's pushing it a little bit, just to have the. But again, and then that set also had the Mantax claws, and actually, Exoforce also had red Mantax pinchers. Again, another recolor from the last wave of Exoforce. See, if you just want cool Bionicle recolor weapons, just look at Exoforce. Honestly, it's got like a plethora of them.
Every wave had a few.
Pretty much. I mean, the Golden City wave also. Oh yeah, Golden City wave had a lime Platanuva claw.
Yep, there's another one.
There's another one. Oh, interestingly enough, though, there was one set of Exoforce that has like a Bionicle style weapon in like a yellow color. That's not a KK2 recolor. It's not a Bionicle recolor. It's actually a new mold for Exoforce, and it's from the Sky Guardians one. And it's such a weird piece because you look at the piece and you just go, "That's a Bionicle weapon," but it's not designed. It was designed for Exoforce, but in the same style of like Bionicle to keep with the Exoforce aesthetic.
I'd say it's not as greebly as most Bionicle weapons look.
It's a little less greebly.
It's definitely a little more animated.
But it's still got the axle with 2 pinholes right above it with a blade attached to it.
But it doesn't have like weird piping on it.
No, it's not the aesthetic Bionicle. But if you basically show that piece in a vacuum to someone and you show this, like, dude, what is this piece? They would go, "Oh, it's a Bionicle weapon." Like, unless they know it's Exoforce, you're just going to assume it's a Bionicle weapon, which is, it's the only time I think Lego, outside of Bionicle, has designed a piece that is supposed to look Bionicle.
No, I'd say nowadays there's some Ninjago looking weapons that look kind of Bionicle-ish.
I don't know if they're supposed to. I don't know. The thing is, I don't think they're supposed to look Bionicle. They just so happen to have a. This is the thing about the Ninjago weapons. This is the thing about the Ninjago weapons, though, is they don't have any holes in the weapon. They're solid. This Exoforce thing at least does have like a
couple pinholes. It's
got the pinholes, but it's also got like gaps between the blade's rim and like the electrical clear inner. So it has like
pure anime looking sword there.
It's actually a really nice sword. It's a great Variki sword. I believe How One and Me and both use it on our Varikis. Well, not only does the yellow look really good with the old purple as like an accent, but it's also got this electrical like print.
Lightning-y.
I don't know if it's a sticker. I've never gone the set brand new. I know I'm supposed to be the big X-Force fan. I should know all this. Slap me in the face.
Well, I've looked at mine enough that yes, it's a sticker.
I assumed it was a sticker. I just haven't looked close. I own 2 of the piece. I have the set it comes with. I got the set used. Oh, I feel like there was another. Oh yeah, then technically Exoforce, I believe, is also where the Tahu sword with the yellow inside of it may have come out with too. Because
at least it was some racer.
Well, I know it comes in at least a couple Exoforce sets, like with the Golden City wave. It all came out that year, which is a very weird recolor. Because it's still a red Tahu sword, it just has a little bit of...
I mean, Tahu sword came in black in some Technic set.
No, not in Technic. The only black one came out in Oggle's base.
Oh, right, Oggle's base.
Now, Technic set had a silver Kopaka sword.
Yes.
And, I mean...
There were some, early Technic sets in those early 2000s.
Well, if you want to get for weapon recolors from earlier sets, look at Galley Claws. There was a black and one weird, like... It wasn't a Mindstorm set, it wasn't a Creator set, it was like a Power Function Creator set. I don't even know. It's a really obscure random set that has like some motorized stuff with a bunch of ramp
Designer, I think it was called.
Something like that. And it had one black Galley Claw. The only set to have it. Which one I'm glad that I got a couple of those. But
I've got a few. Like Ek. My Self-Mock has one.
That's also where I got one. I think I have maybe 1 or 2 others outside of that. But you also got Drone Racers. Not only the Technic version of Drone Racers, but some of the track sets. One specifically had, I believe, Lime Galley Claw as well as just regular black Anua Claws. So you have like...
random stuff here and there, yeah.
Oh, then... speaking of Anua, made me think of Poitou, and when I think of Poitou, I think of Poitou's foot, which I think of Slave 1, Episode 2.
Yep, Jango Fett, Slave 1.
It's such a weird piece because you put that there and go, yeah, that looks right. It's not really that accurate. It gets the impression of what's supposed to be on the ship.
Just a lot of the early Star Wars stuff, like, was the minifig Jango Fett accurate? Not necessarily.
But this is the thing about the quadrifoot. Technically, where like the pylons going up are way too far out and don't actually connect. Mm-hmm. But you put it there and you go, yeah, that looks right. That seems normal.
And that is how they used to just design Star Wars sets back in the day. Yeah, that looks right.
It didn't.
Even though if it actually wasn't, it looks good enough.
That's just older Lego in general.
Nowadays, how screen accurate can we get?
Yeah. See, what I would still wish kind of Lego did is just use a couple more Bionicle parts in obscure sets, like, because outside of, like I said, the weapons, X-Force using a couple feet and Power Mars using a couple armor. Like, masks were never used, although that's kind of understandable, you know, it's very on the nose, but, like, and the arms, they used one, I guess the Vikings used the arms, but, like, did they ever use, I keep feeling they might have used limbs on, like, another creature one other time, but I can't actually think, like, because Ninjago was too late for that, and I don't think they ever used, Admatoran limbs on anything system.
No, I don't think so.
Like, early Ninjago mechs did use CCBS in the limbs. Wait. No, I was just trying to think of the very first Ninjago Dragons. No, they did not.
I'd have to look.
They did. Okay, early Ninjago Dragons did use Paraka feet.
Actually, some of them might still.
No, I think that foot design has.
It certainly lasted a while.
Oh yeah, no, it went from like 2006 all the way up until
probably like 2019.
At least the first 3 years of Ninjago had them, and I think it was still there for. Actually, I don't know how late, because the first wave of dragons all used it, and then Lloyd's Golden Dragon used it, but after that, I actually don't know if they actually used it. I don't know, but again, Ninjago, used. Actually, one sort of thing that was designed for Bionicle that got a redesign that was used for a long time, the Thornax launcher.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It was redesigned for Hero Factory's Breakout Wave, but that design was still used a fair bit into like Ultra Agents. Ninjago obviously used it.
Superheroes even.
I mean, I don't think they use it anymore. Well, they might still use it. I don't think they use it anymore. But I could be easily proven. I haven't been up to date on
Basically, nowadays, Bionicle lives on in just a few pieces. The Bullrock Eye, they redesigned it slightly on the inside, but it's still the Bullrock Eye.
Yeah.
The ball.
Yeah, I guess the ball was technically designed for the same year as Bionicle.
It was designed for Bionicle.
Was that designed for Bionicle? Because none of them actually use it as a ball for the most part. It was designed in cahoots with the system, I would say.
It's literally called the Voodoo Ball.
Never mind, it was. Okay,
and then the new version, the fans like to call it a Through-Do Ball. It's just
that was the piston ball.
Which was also invented for Bionicle.
But there's things like
But those balls still... And the Glatorian neck, the Hordika neck, those pieces still live on.
The ones that aren't obviously Bionicle. I mean, let's be honest. I think like pretty much any sort of specialized Bionicle part, Lego got rid of almost all the molds. Like when Gen 2 came around, they kept some. Like the Skrull armor, the Gurak staff weapon.
The Gurak staff weapon only lives on because like they have molds of a 5-year or something. If they haven't used it in 5 years, they get rid of it. But because that was used in the Stars Roshki, meant that they could still use it in Gen 2.
Honestly, it was the best one for them to use, I think. It's not very element-specific looking, as well as, being actually just kind of nice in general.
Well, early designs of the Gen 2, I think they were actually going to reuse the Evoki.
Really?
Yes. But since they changed the way mass attached, they kind of just scrapped that.
I mean, let's be honest. Some of the early ideas, also saying like, early concepts for the Lego Movie 2 was going to have Takanuva. Which made Taka an early concept for the Gift of Purchase was going to have Takanuva. Like, Takanuva was always like so close to being there.
Second place and everything,
what can you say? Could have been, but he's not. But yeah, and I was like, you could definitely tell that there was a year between like, pretty much 2005, or pretty much when Vikings came out, all the way to about like Atlantis.
I just realized something that another piece that was used in the Power Miners was the upper leg piece, like the double socket upper leg piece. So the Mind Mech.
That was also used on the Ultra Dragon, and I think a few system sets here and there. But yeah, the Mind Mech did have it, which the Mind Mech also did end up using the
Ordegan X.
The Ordegan X, as well as the Mari blade.
Yes.
Also, Power Miner had just Power Miner. Okay, I know this was meant to be talking about like Bionicle pieces, but Power Mars, I gotta respect how well it incorporates Bionicle, Technic, and System all together to make functionally cool looking vehicles.
Like, and functionally functional.
They were usually when you have a cool function, it's form over function, right? Or function over form.
Yeah.
Power Mars managed to find that perfect balance between the two, where somehow, despite the things being basically all about the function, it rarely, because all the designs of the vehicles are made up, they could morph the design around. Like Crystal Sweeper, okay, that's a made up design, but it looks cool. I would say the only one where it's like the function really is noticeable compared to the form, it's like
the claw mech thing.
Not really. That's still a decent looking set. Like all the sets are good looking sets.
I'd say Mind Mech just because it's so small.
But it's still probably maybe Titanium Command Rig's the only one where it's like all the functions. There's not much form left over it. It's a scaffolding for several different functions on wheels. But again, that kind of fits with the aesthetics, so it's like it gets away with it. How, Power Mars? How have you done this? Actually, speaking of Power Mars, another piece that was, I think, designed... Actually, no, that was designed for Exoforce. I was going to say the giant big wheel that Mobile Devastator has, that Thornatus has. That was designed for Exoforce and not Bionicle. So I was about to say, it's like, oh, that's a piece. Then like, wait, no. No, that's a... I mean, you could even argue like certain parts from... like some of the battle vehicles, like the 5x5 Black Dome, like that Exotic uses as an engine.
Yeah.
I know that was used in red with like a fireman helicopter layer. Was that designed for Bionicle? I think so. It was mostly designed for those big vehicles. I don't think it was used much else. But again,
I think it was first in like the Mari system sets.
The bubble.
Yes.
Right.
It still counts as a Bionicle piece.
True.
I think.
Maybe
the fireman helicopter was the same year as that.
I have no idea. It looks newer though than all that, but yeah, no. Like the point I was kind of going with all this is like you can very much tell an era where Lego was very much. I'm not sure if they're going out their way to use Bionicle parts or were trying to justify the use of Bionicle parts, because like Vikings, they also the Dragons have, but they also used Borg shields for like these large shields. Used on them, and it's like the Serpent had them, and then like Atlantis and Power Mars had like had a similar aesthetic, and they both ended up using Bionicle pieces. Actually, Atlantis actually does remind me. There was a limited edition Atlantis that are all hard to find, where it had like this kind of weird undersea turtle, spiky sea creature. I don't know what. I generally don't know what the creature is. It's a made-up creature.
I think it's supposed to be a sea turtle.
A sea turtle, but it had like a bunch of black Kina armors.
Yes.
As the shell. I don't know if black came in any other set.
I think that was the only set.
I mean, it had like 6 of them or something. So
pretty sure that was the only set.
Right, that's another one. That's another armor that was unique to. Atlantis. Atlantis, you're.
They gave
also Atlantis made me think. Green and black Kalma tentacles.
Yes.
And yellow came out in Hero Factory, so again, weapons, but
generally the easiest thing to incorporate. Like no other set used a body piece anywhere.
I mean, like if you want to find Bionicle pieces used in other sets, you just go to Technic. Like they've used Tohunga bodies. The Jango Fett Technic figure used the T.O.A. or no, the Stormtrooper used the T.O.A. body. I think
Stormtrooper did.
Jango Fett, I think, might have used the T.O.A. body, and then like the large Technic battle droid had feet. It had Tohunga arms. You could find a bunch of Technic sets using some random Bionicle parts. But when it comes down to like cool like system sets, it's very much relegated to Technic. Which, as much as I really like Viking, I think Power Miner incorporated them in aesthetically the best. But Vikings went the most into using them.
The Exoforce was just pretty easy to just
weapons.
Throw some weapons.
We're making mechs. Put some Bionicle weapons on there. Call it a day.
Maybe slap a sticker or 2 on them.
Oh, and when those 2 couple sets, we'll put them as feet.
Yeah, we'll just grab some cake or 2 just for some variety,
And if we forgot any sets, let us know in the comments. How one we don't need to go to Bricklink and go through every Bionicle piece.
Bricklink is down right now. What are we gonna do?
We'll die.
Gotta go to Brick Owl.
Never. Ugh. But yeah, no, there's actually more sets that we came up with for Bionicle being used as system sets than I was really expecting. Because I had a couple like in the Exoforce and Vikings in my head, but I didn't actually have much else. I completely forgot about the Atlantis turtle thing. Like that one actually made me happy to remember. But yeah, no, like I said, if you guys like this, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. I'm actually surprised how many subscribers we have. We've 116 at the moment. It's going up. I don't have any new benchmarks to make yet.
There will be something someday.
I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but
all the T.O.A need to meet their elements.
Eventually, yes, with benchmarks, but I just don't know what the next one will be. But anyways, thanks for listening. I have been your host, Onvermel. This has been the T.O.A Podcast, and we are retiring from the night.